Good evening, YouTube friends. I'll give you a guess what this video is. Yes, you got it. An unboxing. Which, some people hate them, some people love them. I think they're more fun for the people doing them. So people like to make them. I'm not sure how many people like to watch them. I watch them. I watch other people's. I am on the tripod. I'm trying to be really disciplined and only do tripod videos for the most part now, because I know swinging around stinks. Just a quick update on the last video. I said I was going to start stripping this and derusting, so I know it's not really visible that well up there because this thing is on a tripod up above me and the lighting kind of stinks in here. But and I don't have my good flashlight. I can't find it. I have one of those super atomic beams, you know, and they are really good. This is pretty much rust-free. The navel jelly did its job, and I've completely derusted it. And you know, I'm going to clean it, and I wipe it down with I don't know, mineral spirit. Well, maybe not mineral spirit, something to degrease and clean it before I paint it. But I am going to tape it off and paint it. I did pull it as the speaker and the transformer to be able to do it, and the IF cans are loose. I did not unwire them underneath, so they're kind of hanging. I pulled them off mainly for two reasons. I wanted to see if there were mica caps in there that I was going to change if they were there, not even knowing if this thing has silver mica disease. But this is old enough, from '39, no mica caps, except the trimmer caps are mica caps, but they're not the type you get silver mica disease on. They're regular trimmer caps with pieces of mica in them. So it is a lot cleaner. I did not. Another reason these are hanging, I got to do the cabinet underneath. I'm going to tape them off, and the screws were so corroded. I saturated with penetrating oil, let them soak for a real long time, and was extremely careful because I did not want to snap off the post that actually goes into the IF coil. That would have been disastrous. So that's coming along. There's no rust on it whatsoever, and all the pieces are stripped. Next step will be painting it. I still have not received yet the poor parts. I have all the capacitors coming from DigiKey, and I have a full set of tubes coming from findatube.com. By the way, that's where I get my tubes. Bob Dobush, a good guy. And he usually has a good assortment. You can get new old stock, or you can get used one for most of them. I am getting one very good used 6Q QA7 or whatever it was, because he did not have a new old stock one. The rest are all new old stock because I want to have brand new tubes in it, and I'll put the used ones in my stock. So this I talked about on my last video. It's no special surprise. It is the tube tester. It arrived today when I was at work. My son brought it in. FedEx dropped it off outside. And we'll see what we got. I will probably have to edit the video a little when I pull this out of the box. Maybe not. No peanuts. I hate peanuts. Wanted ham radio equipment. Oh, that's from it's a big seller on eBay, but he has a lot of good stuff, good prices. So I will share it. It's Ham and Hi-Fi, one word. HAMANDHIFI. And I've bought from them before. I don't remember what, but they've got a lot of radios and a lot of radio equipment. And they're a bigger seller on eBay. And this, I mentioned in the video, the last video, about the fact that not a lot of people bid on this. And I'm guessing because it had no roll chart, which could have been true. But I do know a good mutual conductance tube tester by Hickok is worth at least $300, complete and working. I know I sold my last one for more than $300, and I've seen other Navy ones complete, not this model, the smaller model, the TA7 model, which is pretty popular. I've seen those things go for $500. In fact, I was watching an auction. Sorry, I'm off camera. I gotta move stuff. I was watching an auction from the same seller, this Hi-Fi ham radio and hi-fi guy. They were all at the same time they were selling this one. They were selling one of the it's a Navy one. It's a TA. I can't. The name escapes me now. TAU7. It ends in 7. It's the smaller Navy one. I think people like it because it's compact, but I actually think this is a better tester. That one was complete, fully functional, and it had been serviced by somebody, and they had the documentation for it. So I understand, you know, people want one that's complete and working, but that one started out at like, I don't know, like $50 to start with, and it went up and up and up, and it sold for $495. And I actually think this is a better tube tester. And I'm going to tell you, well, I don't mind telling you, I got this for less than $100, not including shipping, which blew my mind. Because this is, as far as I know, a very good mutual conductance tester. Of course, they did say in the listing this one was for parts or repair. They had not tested it. The other one was tested and working. And this was missing the roll chart, as I already shared, but I've got a roll chart. This is why I don't always like to do unboxings, because you never know what you're going to run into. It's packed well, and I always save my bubble wrap because this stuff is expensive. And I use it myself for shipping stuff. Put it in a plastic bag and throw it in my shed. So, the big question, what is there anything in here? This is the thing where the cord goes. There's stuff in here. They didn't even look in here, I don't think. As far as I knew, the way they listed it, it said, all you will receive is what's in the picture, nothing more. I assumed I would not get any of the attachments that are in here. They must have never looked. This is awesome. This also has a multimeter in it and a capacitor checker. And these are for different types of tubes. These are your grid cap tops. These I did not think were going to come. I thought I'd have to make grid clamps. Ooh, that just snapped. This, I'll cut off the fittings and put a new wire on it. This is so brittle. I just snapped the insulation snapped. It's the old rubber. Boy, I bet that's the same stuff that's inside of it. That might be a problem. There's a box in here. You know what? I'm gonna see. This thing's kind of high. I apologize. I know you're not very zoomed in, and it's above my head at the moment. I'm going to adjust this live and try to get down so when I pull these little bits out of the box, I can at least have a chance that you'll see them on camera to some degree. Pardon me for doing this. I have a Bloggy Touch. I've mentioned that before. I want to get one that plugs into my laptop and runs USB so that I can see on the screen what you're seeing while I'm taping. It would be so much better. I have to like stop, go behind the camera, look in the thing. This is awesome. There's stuff in here. I really thought this would be empty. I didn't think I'd get any of the stuff that was originally with it. One set of spare lamps for the T3U tube tester consisting of 2 each fuse lamps, 1 each pilot lamp, 1 each neon lamp. Empty. Cool box though. Those are easy to replace, light bulbs. I'm really happy though that those caps were in there. That's not all the stuff that was with this radio originally. There are a couple more things. There were a couple multimeter leads, probes, because it has a multimeter built into it. I don't even care about this. The grid cap clips and the grid caps are extremely valuable. Those are the ones that I was more concerned about not having, and they're in here. Thank God. I would have had to make them, which I knew going into it. The power cord, Amphenol, that's could very well be original. The cord is quite flexible. So it's you can't read this, I know, up there. TV-3A tube tester, serial number 635. Manufactured for the Navy Department Bureau of Ships. By contract, the Hickok Electrical Instrument Company, Cleveland, Ohio. It's got writing on here. I couldn't make that out in the auction picture. CCDP/37260. No, doesn't mean anything to me. I thought I had writing somewhere else. Yeah. 094133. Must have been some number they used to categorize it. 40-D. I'm sure there's some Navy relevance to that. Oh, this is a nice leather handle, by the way, and it's like super thick. And it's not bad. It's not totally dried out. I figured that would be dried out for sure. It's not. My plan is to strip this cabinet. All this stuff is riveted on. I'm thinking of drilling it all out, stripping the hardware off of here, de-rusting the hardware, stripping the cabinet, and repainting it because it's fairly beat up. And I'm thinking of doing that. I might do that. Oh, that sucks. It's a piece of plastic. I heard something banging in there. It's a piece of plastic. What is that? It looks... I don't see it came from anything. There's no knob that looks like this. Oh, you know what it is? It's the bottom of a tube. It's a loctile... I'm not going to put it in there. I won't be able to get it back out. I'll bet it was down in there. It's a tube base piece. It probably popped out. There's two of them in there. I'll bet it came out of the... I bet they were down inside there and flew out during shipping. So the top of this has a little bit of surface. I don't know if it's corrosion or dirt. I'm going to have to clean it and see if it comes off. You know, it's really hard to tell. I know you can't see from up there. At least all the nomenclature is readable. It's all in good enough shape I can read it all. With a good cleaning, this may clean up good. It's got some kind of a dirty film on here, and I don't know if it's dirt or corrosion. It's hard, you can't tell. The dial glass is not broken. It has little paint drops on it, which is absolutely what you see all the time on these things. I'm going to pull this on camera. This is my other concern, is I was afraid because there was no pictures of the inside of this, and they're like, not tested, unknown working condition, blah blah blah. I'm thinking, okay, I hope this thing wasn't stripped for parts because somebody obviously took the roll chart. And I open this up and find there's no transformer, because if this had no transformer, you're done. You're done. You will never get another transformer for one of these unless you take it from another one, because they're extremely specialized transformers that have multiple taps for all the filament voltages. And I'm like, man, I hope somebody didn't strip this for parts. That was the chance I took buying it. That's also why I got it for under $100. It was 91 by, if you're wondering, plus shipping. The shipping wasn't cheap either. But I'm like, they go for $200 in decent working condition. I'll take a chance for $91. And I'm looking like I'm glad I did so far. As I mentioned, I didn't think those grid caps would be in there. They plug in here. They aren't normal grid caps either. They do have a normal, I know you can't see them up there, they have a normal clip down inside, but this big heavy thing, I don't know, I've never seen one like it. And then there's two leads, which normally you'd have a single grid cap. I think this one is more appropriately the one that would go to G for the grid cap, and this would be like for plate or something. but I'm going to have to redo that one. I'm thinking it's probably not stripped for parts, and the reason I say that is everything is complete on top. If somebody had stripped this for parts, that meter movement would have been taken if that was what they were after, or just parts. And also probably the knobs, but they're all there, so I'm hoping. Why this is missing? I've seen a few of them on eBay missing the roll charts. I'm like, why do people take roll charts out of these? Unless they rip, but even if they did, why would you take the whole mechanism out? To sell it off, I suppose, but the thing's worth more with it in it. They could have sold the whole thing instead. Who knows what people think. That's still in there. There's more screws, but they're not on the edge, and I don't want to pull every screw because I don't know what they're holding underneath. You would think it would just be the screws around the edges that held this in. Oh, I missed one. I missed one over here. I'm still zoomed in too, aren't I? See, this is another thing I forget, and this is why I want to get a USB camera. I'm back. Sorry, my battery went dead up on the tripod. I took a little bit of time. I had to recharge this, and I looked these up. There's actually supposed to only be one of these per kit. I didn't know what they were. Here's the kit as it originally would have come. There it is. And then there's the clip lead, which I also have. So I have these two. I do not have this one. I do not have this one, and I do not have this one. Using the chart to look at what they are, these are the multimeter clip leads. These are for doing some kind of capacitance test. One of these was red, one was black. The red one was for grid, the black one was for, for plate. Red was plate, whatever. Black and red. And then these are different. What they're actually for, they're grid and plate for a lighthouse tube. I have no idea what a lighthouse tube is. It must be some military thing. I'm never going to use one, I doubt. So what you got here is you have a grid and a plate cap lead that go into the two grid and plate outlets. And apparently it reads one off the top and one off the sides of this with the two contacts in there. This is good wire, and since I have two, I might scavenge one. I dropped my other lead to replace this, or I might just unsolder that, pop the end off, and redo this. And the fact that I don't have a grid and a plate cap, I can use this interchangeably. I don't really. The grid one, there are tubes, and I think a lot of them are transmitting tubes that had a side thing sticking out for the grid. That, you know, and they're usually big transmitting tubes, so you would clip that onto the grid, and then you'd have the plate one on top. 99% of the tubes I'm ever going to see are only going to have the plate clap on top. They're not going to have a grid side thing, so I can fix the wire on that, use it for the top. And these I'll probably never use. I could scavenge this. I could like pull it apart and use like half of it for a grid cap and half of it for the other one, because these wires are good. Or I could sell them online, but I don't know that anybody would have use for them. What is a lighthouse tube? I'm going to have to look that up. I don't know. No idea. I believe it's, I'm guessing, I'm only guessing, it's a military tube. Okay. I am off the tripod, I admit, and I did work at getting this out. I had to see off camera what was holding this together. I found the directions in there. There are only the screws around the outside, no other screws. These did not come out. It was simply hanging up on the cord and on a couple parts inside. I'm going to get it out, flip it over, and then I'm leaving this off tripod because I can better see what I'm filming and zoom in and give you a better look at the underneath. Okay, right, so yes, I did look at the bottom of this before I started the camera again, so there's no big ooh and ah, but I did ooh and ah over the fact that there is absolutely no missing parts that I can find. Looks complete, looks original. I don't see anything that's not original. The original capacitors are in there. There's only two that I know of. These were in my SP600. These are oil filled. Turns out they're presumably PCB laden oil filled, which is the type of oil would be put in old transformers. So that is a cancerous toxin there. Some people restuff these. I actually popped these open and drained the oil on the ones on my on my SP600, and then I looked it up and I'm like, yeah, I didn't come into contact with it. I just dumped it out and then rinsed it. But PCBs are bad business. I'm not messing with them. I'm probably just going to pull it out and change it and not restuff it. Date code 451. So that is actually the same date as my roll chart, April of 51. And there's another electrolytic. Those are the only two caps in this. Everything else I think is a resistor as far as I know that I've seen so far. Look at these things. I've never seen anything like these. They're like a wire wound resistor. They're massive and they have like multiple taps off them. I'm trying to zoom it without in focus. I am sorry for the camera work, but it's the only way I can show you this close up. It does have the dreaded fungal insecticide sprayed all over it that the military used. They put it on everything. It was on my SP600 inside of it. That yellowish film that coats everything for going into tropical environments so the thing wouldn't rot and corrode inside, which probably preserved it. I love the work on these things though. I mean, it's awesome. And you can see why I said if this transformer's gone, you're done. Because there's a million taps off that. There's like so many taps off that. And look at the rat nest of wires that go to that thing. And then look at this really blew my mind. Look at the wires going to this switch. All on top of it. And this is a multi-layer, you know, switch with, let me focus, multiple taps. Crazy. But it's all original and it's all intact, thank God. I was really happy to see that everything was there as far as I can tell. Looks all original. The only thing I did find, which I'm guessing is old damage, I know I didn't do it when I pulled it out. This board is broken off. There's 2 screws on each corner. And it looks like each corner snapped off. It probably had, I'm guessing this was set on a bench right side up and somebody pushed down on it and snapped it. I think if I get these screws, there's one on each corner's screwed. I could probably take the corners off, glue it together with some epoxy and stick it back on. And even if I left it, I don't think there's any problem. It's not a circuit board. There's no traces in it. It's all, everything on it is mounted on these posts. So there's nothing, you know, damaged by the fact that it broke. Except I'd like to have it solid. So, there you go. I won't belabor this too long. I was extremely happy to find that it's all original inside. There's nothing missing. So I took a chance and won. By buying one sight unseen. And I can see why they didn't have pictures of the inside of this. It was a bugger to get out. There's slots here that are made. There's one under the board. I can't show you unless I move it. This slot is to clear this, and then the edge of this switch was hanging up, and there were wires that were over here. I've moved them out of the way. You see that, the frayed wire? This frayed wire was here, and it got frayed from rubbing on the case when it's going in and out. So, and I don't think I just did that. This is a cloth wire. It's been in and out before. So I moved that to the side, but then these the terminal leads hang up a little bit too. So that's what was hanging up, and it was the power cord. But very impressive piece of machinery. I love looking at these things. And I know anybody watching this probably already knows this, but you got to appreciate the incredible amount of work that this thing was hand soldered by somebody in a factory. I know they had assembly lines and like one person put together the wiring harness and then it went to the next person, but you know, it was somebody's job to solder this wiring harness to all those terminals on that switch. Somebody else's job maybe to wire in the transformer and solder all that in, all hand done. Just incredible, the craftsmanship that went into making these. I mean, what would it cost to make these today? You know, to pay an assembly line full of people to manufacture one of these in the United States? I mean, you can't even imagine, because everything's so automated nowadays and not made quite so well. Okay, I'm probably just prattling on now, as they say. This is going to be a future restoration. As I said, I'm going to strip the cabinet, I'm going to clean the front, I'm going to change those caps, try it out. It should work, hopefully, as is, but I'm going to go, there's a calibration procedure in the manual. I'm going to go through that, I'll make a video on it. And yes, the roll chart dropped in there perfectly. I just set it in there to see. Of course, it is from this exact model. Oh, I did look. You can see the flaked away tropical fungal coating, and no, it did not match to the roll chart I had. I didn't think it came out of this actual one. But it's weird, you know, why do people take the roll charts out of these? Everything else in the bottom of this is like in perfect condition and the roll chart's gone. Why? Who knows? I mean, if you were going to part it out, as I said, you'd part it out. You'd part out the transformer, you'd part out the meter, but there you go. I'm prattling on again, sorry. Thanks for watching, and the next one I'll be back with my restoration videos on that little Emerson for my daughter. 73.